Georgia. 405 hitter coming into the weekend, but it's Lindy Ray Davis who gets us started as Lopez deals today's first pitch, and it's in their first strike. Ray Davis, her numbers this year. Missy, isn't this something? 328 as a leadoff hitter. Her OPS nearly 1,200.
Yeah, and she took over the leadoff hitter role on March the 8th. She's been batting .455 over her last 5 games with 4 RBIs, and she leads the team in walks, which if you're a leadoff hitter, you want to give your team an opportunity to see a lot of pitches, and that's what she's done. Like I said, with leading the team with 22 walks.
The 0-2 pitch. 12 walks over the last 10 games. And that on-base percentage, Missy, in a 10-game span, it makes you kind of laugh a little bit because it's just that good.
Oh, it is. And she's done a great job since getting into that leadoff role, as you can see. And they're going to need her to be able to lead this team this weekend and set the tone for the offense for Georgia. Absolutely.
A team in Georgia, 24 wins, just 4 losses. Just missed out on sweeping Alabama last weekend. They won the first 2 games, 4-2 and 11-3. As Davis stays alive, still 2-2.
It was a really great series for Georgia against Alabama. Just not the kind of ending that head coach Tony Baldwin was looking for. They had a couple of mistakes, I think, that led them into that loss, but they were hoping to clean that up heading into this weekend.
So from 0-2 now to 3-2.
You see why she's in that leadoff role now. She's taken the pitches, working the count to find something that she can drive.
And a leadoff walk, what do you know? Kind of expected from Davis as much as she's been walking, right?
Absolutely.
And a Georgia team as well that has walked the 4th most in the SEC, 114.
And then, of course, you have Sarah Mosley, who has got a hot bat right now. I don't think you'll see them sacrificing.
Absolutely not. With Sarah Mosley's numbers from Georgia herself, she's super senior, and yeah, when you hit 333 and you have 39 RBIs coming into the weekend, I don't think the word sacrifice is in the dictionary of Sarah Mosley.
No, not at all.
I mean, if you really want to know, Missy, just one sack fly, yes, but no sack punts, sack hits, nothing in her statistical column this year.
Yeah, like you said, not much of a surprise.
Well, if you're Brianna Lopez too, as Mosley's ahead 2-1. Lopez in her first season with Ole Miss spent the first 2 years of her career at Hawaii. And a favorable 3-1 count now. But Lopez, it's a tall task today, right? Especially when you're in year 1 at a whole new school, and basically across the pond, and all those miles from her home in California all the way down here to Mississippi.
Yeah, right. You know, you haven't seen her make a lot of starts this season. She's mostly come in off the bench after you've seen power from McKenna Cleathermos or Caitlin Riley or Ansley Furbush. And so this is a big moment for her. And these last 2 hitters that she's faced has gotten behind. So she really needs to tighten it up, find the strike zone, and get some outs here. Let her defense help her.
Lofted up the middle and down for a base hit for the Dogs. And now they have 2 on, first and second base with nobody out to begin today's ball game.
And unfortunately, when you get behind in hitters, especially these good hitters like Georgia, it's a tough task. And so Mosley, you see there, she just reaches her bat out and pokes the ball in range as far as batting averages. So you really need to be smart. Hit the corners, use your changeup.
High drive out to right by Jada Carney, and McKay under it to make the catch. That's a big first out to Carney, who has 12 home runs this year, Missy, 27 ribbies, and a .348 hitter. So runners stay on first and second base for Georgia with 1 down.
Yeah, and she's really done a good job over the last 5 games. She's batting .400, hitting 2 home runs and 3 RBIs. So you really can't mess around. So that's a big out right there for Brianna Lopez.
Kuma at the plate, first pitch swinging. She's down 0-1. Fresno, California native. Batting average near 400. Another OPS that's off the charts coming into the weekend. NCAA third-team All-American last year, Sydney Kuma. First time she's been named an All-American in her career. Also softball American, second-team All-American last year. 1-1 is flown to left. McKay near the line makes the catch. Back-to-back flyouts to right field. And Georgia now has 2 outs with runners on first and second base.
Well, whatever Carl Golan said, it worked because she got the next 2 hitters to fly out to right field, and Jamie McKay. Brianna Lopez doing a really good job of working the outside part of the plate. We'll see what she does here against Jamie Goodwin.
First pitch just misses the edge. Jaden Goodwin, the sophomore. Boy, did she have a fantastic game earlier this week against Georgia Southern. Hit 2 home runs, including a grand slam.
Yeah, well, check out these stats. In her last 5 games, she's hitting .800.
Wow.
With 2 home runs and 7 RBIs. That's just phenomenal.
She hasn't played a ton this year, and Coach Baldwin told us, you know, you're probably going to see it this weekend, so just be prepared. And it looks like, it sounds like, Missy, you came prepared with those numbers in her last 5 games. So.
Well, she's just been outstanding, and you know, why wouldn't you expect her to be in the lineup this weekend for Georgia after the last 5 games, last 10 games? Honestly, she's just been on fire offensively.
Counts 2-2. Georgia to begin this ball game. A walk and a single, but back-to-back flyouts to right field, and there are 2 away.
And that's just Brianna Lopez getting ahead of the hitters. As she falls behind against Davis and Mosley and allows them to get on base, and the next 2 hitters she goes right after. And that's just what you're looking for if you're Jamie Traxel, is getting ahead of these Georgia hitters.
Yanks that foul down the right field line. And you look at Goodwin this season, this is her 25th game played. And this Georgia lineup just up and down. They have so many good players. Coach Baldwin even said we have so many good players, but so many few spots. It's hard for everybody to get playing time. As that's fouled off by Goodwin.
Another changeup by Brianna Lopez. Just, again, what she needs to do to keep these Georgia hitters off balance. Goodwin does a good job of fouling it off, staying live at the plate.
Payoff pitch. Ball 4 and bases are loaded for the Dogs.
That's a great at bat by Jaden Goodwin. Just working the count and eventually working the walk from Brianna Lopez.
And another veteran comes up to bat, Jaden Fields, graduate student. With 2 gone for Georgia. And sees it up in the zone for strike 1.
Another super senior, so you're looking at experience again.
And a lot of experience from Fields, named second team All-SEC last year, NCAA All-Southeast region as well. Fields also last year hit .309 against the SEC. In a big spot here in the top half of the first, and 2 gone. Bases loaded. And that's a strike. She went around.
See Brianna Lopez pull the string on that pitch. Bounces into the dirt right in front of Lexi Brady, but enough of a change to get Jaden Fields to check her swing. She tries to go back to it there.
Yeah, it worked the first time, right? But try not a second.
Go for it.
Lopez with some traffic on every base to begin the game. Can she get out of the jam? The 2-2. Got her! Swinging! Strike 3.
It's in Lily Backus's best interest to use that changeup and keep these Ole Miss hitters.
First pitch strike to Jayla Lassiter. 9 for 20 in her last 6 games. 3 of the 6. She has multi-hit games.
There was a stretch there where head coach Jamie Traxel had put Jaden Pone in the leadoff spot, and now we see Jayla Lassiter back up there. So, you know, sometimes as a coach, you want to, take some pressure off, and Jayla Lassiter had struggled a little bit there early on, and now she's found her rhythm again, and you can see that by the way she's upped her batting average. Now batting 385 for Ole Miss.
I don't think many players in the SEC have as much swagger as Jayla Lassiter has.
Oh, I love to watch her play. When she was a freshman last year, just to be able to start in center field and command that position, because you're a leader in the outfield when you're in center, and she's just been a phenomenal addition to this Ole Miss team and has carried it over into her sophomore season. Usually you talk about the sophomore slumps, and she hasn't had that at all.
Up and in, and the count's full to Lassiter. NFCA All-South Region honors last year in her freshman year. Full count pitch. Some movement there, but it missed the zone. And Jayla Lassiter's on with a leadoff walk. And you have to be worried and cautious. You have to know where Jayla Lassiter is at all times when she's on the base paths, right, Missy?
Oh, of course. And even though she doesn't have any stolen bases in SEC play, she's always that threat. So you have to be aware. She's got so much speed.
Jaden Pone, in her first season with Ole Miss, transferred from Longwood, and she shows bunt and puts it off the backstop. 0-1.
Where you're not going to see a lot of sacrifice bunts from Georgia, Ole Miss will give you that look, that sacrifice to advance the runners.
Ole Miss has 20 sacrifice bunts this year, Missy, that leads the conference. There she goes, lays it down. Mosley, the third baseman, throws out Pone at first and moves up Lassiter. So make it sack bunt number 21 now this year.
Absolutely, and I'm all about small ball. I love it. I mean, it's great to get the big hits and the home runs, but some of the best offense is station to station and just consecutive hits. And now you have a runner in scoring position because anything in the outfield.
Against the Tigers down in Baton Rouge since 2008. Here's Paige Smith. She airs the first pitch out to right field. And Carney makes the catch. Lassiter moves up. Nope, never mind. She goes back to second base.
Yeah, that ball was not deep, and it was just an amazing hit by Lexi Brady.
Brady takes the first pitch strike. 9 homers this year for Brady, Sioux Falls, South Dakota native. Average of 282 coming into today. She was 1 for 6 last weekend against LSU. And she's under this pitch, right side. And the first baseman, Digby, makes the catch. And Ole Miss leaves one stranded. Still no score in Oxford.
The LSU pitchers and just lit them up for the next 2 games.
Ellie Armistead to lead things off for Georgia in the second inning. The Dogs had bases loaded back in the first inning. They probably feel like offensively they let that inning go I mean, go to waste.
Oh, absolutely. But that's a credit to Brianna Lopez for getting ahead of the Georgia hitters and getting them to fly out and strike out. So she let the beginning inning, get a little bit away from her, but found her rhythm and got back on track.
This is Lopez's first outing since March the 10th, so 13 days ago against Mississippi State. Pitched 2 1/3, walked 3 batters. She earned the win, though. Second win at Ole Miss in her first season as a Rebel. Of course, that was that walk-off winner that Lexi Brady had. You saw last inning if you were with us.
That home run by Lexi Brady salvaged the weekend for Ole Miss and avoided the sweep by Mississippi State. So to say it was a big hit
Called strike 3. Lopez with back-to-back Ks.
was a great outing against LSU. It's always tough to go down and play in front of Tiger Nation and come out successful. So a huge victory for us, as well as it was a huge victory for Ole Miss last weekend.
And you were with Ole Miss as a head coach during those times. Congratulations on that series win, by the way.
Thank you.
It's been I wasn't here in 2008 to congratulate you then, but
Were
here
you
I am.
even born?
Yes. Yes, I was.
Well, thank you. It was fun.
Emily Digby at the plate. And she's ahead 3-0. That's a strike, 3-1. And Emily Digby kind of waited to hear if that was ball 4 or not, but it was borderline 50-50 striker ball.
Well, and that's just good patience. You don't really want to give up a 3-0 count and swing. So, but good at bat. She works the walk off of Brianna Lopez, which is the 3rd walk of the game.
And you don't want to give these Bulldogs free passes, do you? I mean, an offense, too, hitting .317 as a team. Sure, that's 7th in the conference, Missy, but also you have to worry about the long ball when it comes to Georgia. 52 homers this year, that leads the SEC.
Yeah, and 187 RBIs and a .611 slugging percentage. So they're doing something right. And you definitely don't want to give free passes because they end up coming back to bite you.
Bunt is fair for Goodnight, and she's out at first base. So now a little small ball from Georgia as they move Digby up to second base.
It's a great bunt by Dallas Goodnight. Gets it out in front, able to move up Emily Digby.
So we saw a sac bunt by Ole Miss back in the first to move Lassiter in scoring position, and now it's Digby at second base. In the second with Lindy Ray Davis, who, I mean, as a leadoff hitter, you can't assume she's going to get on base, Missy, but the way she's been patient at the plate, the way her discipline has been these last couple of games in this stretch, you'd assume she's an automatic on-base player when she comes up to bat.
She started off the game with leading the team with 22 walks, and now she's earned her 23rd walk, her last at bat, and so you know, she's very patient, very knowledgeable of the zone, and so as you can see, she's already worked the 2-0 count. So again, Brianna Lopez getting behind on Lindy Ray Davis does not bode well for her.
Can you teach patience? You're a head coach for so long, you've been around this game forever. Is that something you can teach, or is that something that just comes naturally?
Well, I think you can give them an opportunity to learn, but patience is a hard thing to teach. You know, so it's just a matter of seeing a lot of pitches, knowing the strike zone, and then waiting and finding your pitch to hit. And I think if you can do those things, then you'll be a more patient hitter.
Half committed swing, 3-2. No score between Ole Miss and Georgia. but the Dogs threatening in the second. Ball 4, and back to, I should say, 2 walks in the last 3 batters now for Lopez.
And Sarah Mosley, who's coming up to the plate right now, has the only hit of the game. I'm sure that Carl Golan and Jamie Traxel were talking about how they could use Brianna Lopez to keep these Georgia hitters off balance.
Sarah Mosley, like Missy said earlier, the only hit today for Georgia. She's 1 for 1 with their 31st hit of the season. But an RBI machine, 42 ribbies this year. And she knocks this to center. On the run, Lassiter makes the catch. Big third out. And
too much value in the preseason polls because it's too much is based on the previous year and what you've done. And so, you know, the end of the season is the telltale sign.
Well, and if you're Ole Miss, too, of course you were picked where you were picked in the preseason. But also, like you said, with the transfer portal, no one really knows who you added or what they're going to do, how much improvement you've made throughout the year. Obviously, they know what Ainsley Furbush is capable of, right? But Jaden Pone, for instance, and Ole Miss has a whole new left side of the infield, and you don't know what those players are going to do.
Right. I mean, you can look at Jaden Pone's history, and you know she's has a career batting average of over 400. But when it comes to what she's going to do in the SEC and for Ole Miss, you don't know. And so it's just a different competition. It's a different level. Not to say that where she was at previously at Longwood isn't, but day in and day out, it's a grind in the SEC.
Now 2-2 to Ainsley Furbush, talented veteran for Ole Miss this season. Making this last year count. Missy, right? 385 average, 25 hits, 3 shy of her career high.
Oh, and she's been on fire. You saw what she did against LSU, and she really wants to make a statement as she finishes up her senior year. She's been such a valuable asset to this Ole Miss team.
She had 28 hits last season, 83 now for her career. Two-way player, too, for Ole Miss. I'd be shocked if you don't see her in the circle at some point today or tomorrow. Swings and misses, though, at the pitch from Backus, and her first strikeout today.
There's that changeup we've been talking about from Lily Backus, and boy, it was a pretty one. Gets Ainsley Furbush to swing way out in front.
Well, Backus pitched all 3 games against Bama last weekend. She threw in game 1, came out of the bullpen, earned her 4th save of the season, her 5th of her career, as she faces Jamie McKay. But more on Backus. Started game 2 against Bama, got the win, dealt 5 innings, struck out 7, and then in game 3 she came in relief, threw 15 pitches and struck out 2. Talented arm inside the circle, and a 1-1 count now to McKay.
Yeah, and you've seen that bit with how much she's thrown. She leads the staff with 66 innings pitched. She's got she's 9-1. She leads the staff with 62 Ks. She's just been such a mainstay out in the circle for Georgia.
Her first year as a Dog, but she's no stranger to Georgia. She is from Peachtree City, Georgia. Went to North Carolina her first 2 years of her collegiate career. It's 2-2 to McKay. But obviously, Missy, you hear a lot of these stories about players transferring to Georgia. If they're from Georgia, they go somewhere else, come back to Georgia. They all say this, it's the common theme. As McKay pops out to Backus inside the...
There may not have been, the confidence in what she's capable of. And so for a Georgia girl to be able to come back home or to the university, it says something about what she's been able to accomplish. Because Georgia's had so much success over the years that they've been playing, had a softball program. And so, and a lot of talented pitchers come through.
Yanked foul.
Program.
Sorry, I didn't mean to step on you there.
Me either.
Delaney Rummel is down in the count, 0-2. Speaking of another transfer for Ole Miss, 4 years at Illinois, first year as a Rebel. Getting her first taste, consistent taste of SEC pitching now at Ole Miss. And she got a piece of that. Still 0-2. Jamie Traxel, the first time she said she met Delaney Rummel, she was so mature, Rummel, that Traxel was convinced that Delaney Rummel was 30 years old. Let's it be 1-2. Those are the type of players that you want to recruit, right? Especially in the transfer portal.
Well, she's knowledgeable. She's talented. She knows the game. Absolutely.
She's battled back to an even 2-2 count. Last year, she was named All Big Ten Defensive Team. Hit .271 in her final season with the Illini. And off the inside of the bat, still 2-2. Tugs it. Foul.
She's definitely getting her hacks. Working the count against Lily Backus. Like you said, like they say, you foul it off until you get one that you like, that you can drive, and that's what she's doing here.
Count is full with 2 down and nobody on for Ole Miss. It's Rummel's first at bat today. She's 3 for 18 against the SEC so far this season. And works a walk.
That's just a really good at bat by Delaney Rummel. Gets down in the count early and is able to work a walk. Takes a lot of patience, as we discussed earlier, and just knowing the zone.
And if you're Lily Backus, Missy, that's just her 13th walk allowed this season in almost 68 innings pitched.
Yeah, you don't see a lot of walks from her. Her strikeout to walk ratio is excellent.
Angelina De Leon. That second base spot for Ole Miss this season, down 0-1. Quickly down 0-2.
Same kind of scenario that we saw with Rummel. Here with De Leon, gets down in the count early. We'll see if she can't work her way through.
Goes down swinging, strike 3. Lily Backus.
Level of play in the SEC. And like I said earlier, it's a grind, so you can't rest. You always have to bring your A game. And right now, we're in the heart of SEC play.
Definitely are. As Jada Carney leads things off with her 12 home runs this season, 27 RBIs, hitting third in the Bulldogs lineup today. So through 2 innings, Missy, Georgia has left 5 on base. The first, there are 2 sides to this, right? And let's start with the Georgia side of things. Pretty frustrating offensively.
Oh, absolutely, because you have bases loaded in inning 1. You have runners at first and second in inning 2, and you can't push the runs across. That's frustrating for any coach, especially with what you're used to seeing from Georgia with that offensive prowess that they have.
And on the other side of things, you look at Ole Miss.
You're excited if you're Ole Miss because Brianna Lopez is doing her job out in the circle. Made a couple of mistakes here and there with giving up walks, but she's been able to come back and shut it down. So if you're head coach Jamie Traxel, you're feeling like you made the right decision out in the circle.
1-2, lined out to right field, but foul. And Lopez has pitched in some big innings for Ole Miss this season. In a one-run game against UConn, she threw 1 shutout inning, earned a win, 2. Her first one as a Rebel against ETSU, she struck out 3 in 3 innings of work, allowed no runs. Struck out 5 earlier this year against Kent State at home. And also 2 innings against Memphis, she struck out 2 and walked a pair.
But the thing about Brianna Lopez is she's not a strikeout pitcher. The defense has to make plays behind her, and that's what they've done. And so that's what makes her successful for Ole Miss out in the circle.
Carney continues to battle. She flew out to right field her first time up and has a full count. Hits the corner for strike 3.
What a pretty pitch by Brianna Lopez. Just throws that drop ball on the outside part of the plate, does an amazing job, and is able to ring up Jada Kearney for her third strikeout of the game.
Just the 5th time this year that Kearney has struck out looking. And Kuma stays in the box, 1-0. She too flew out to right field her first time up. Hard hit up the middle and a base hit for Kuma. It's only a matter of time before she got her first hit of the series. 31 now for her this year.
Yeah, just a great job. This ball's on the inside part of the plate. She gets her hands through and is able to barrel it up for a single out to center field.
Now batting the left fielder, number 2.
This is such a tough part of the lineup. You have Kearney, who Goodwin's nickname is Shorty. And you hear it in every interview, too. They don't call her Jaden. It's, oh, Shorty did this. Shorty did that. Shorty makes me laugh.
Oh,
Something about these nicknames, huh?
Shorty has a very powerful stick.
Watches it go by, 2-0.
Now that changeup offering from Brianna Lopez just a little high in the zone. If you miss with it, you really want to miss down and not up.
Hacks at that, 2-1. Found it interesting, too, that Goodwin didn't play for her high school softball team. She exclusively played club softball growing up. And takes strike 2, 2-2. Is that rare? Is that common?
Well, you know, I've seen that a couple of times this year. The pitcher from Texas that's a freshman this year, I believe she's from Illinois, and she also didn't play high school ball. But, you know, honestly, these college coaches, and including myself when I was coaching, we didn't recruit from high school.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we recruited from the summer teams and the travel teams, and because you got more bang for your buck. And so you want to see you know, more kids, more players. So you're going to go to travel tournaments where you go to a high school, you're going to see 2 teams. So it's really not significant that you play.
On the ground past a diving star, and Kuma on her way to third base. She's there safely. And the Dogs have runners on the corners thanks to back-to-back singles.
Just a great job by Jaden Goodwin. She's down in the count a little bit and comes back and drives this ball past the diving Ryan Spence. Talked about a lot about mentality, about being high-low in the zone with the changeup. And so, yeah, these girls, they absolutely love him.
So after the pitch, Goodwin moves up to second base, and Georgia threatening again here in another inning. With runners in scoring position in second and third, there's one down. 5 stranded so far today for Georgia. Bases loaded back in the first. They left him stranded on first and second base last inning. And Fields comes up empty.
Yeah, last time up, Brianna Lopez threw 3 changeups in a row to get Jaden Fields. Here we see her throw another changeup to even the count, 1-1.
Sits on it. Strike 2.
Just a steady diet of changeups here for Jaden Fields. She's got to be able to make an adjustment.
Good block by Brady. And the one thing too, Missy, that wind's coming in rather harsh today.
Yeah, after the rain we had yesterday, the wind's coming out of the north, and it's a little bit chilly, but that's a strong wind we have today.
On the ground, right to third. Rummel throws home. They have Kuma in a pickle. She's tagged out. Fields moves up to second base, and Goodwin's safe at third.
What a great play by Delaney Rummel. Kuma is going on the pitch. I think she might have thought that the ball was going to get through the 5-6 hole, but a great job by Delaney Rummel to be able to get her into the rundown and then tag her out for the second inning. Tag her for the second out in the inning.
Ellie Armstead at the plate. Struck out looking back in the second inning. And looks at one on the corner for strike 1. So runners still on second and third for Georgia. Thought about it. Armistead had a home run earlier this week against Georgia Southern, having a career best year at the plate, hitting .344. Shows bunt, and off the bag at third is Goodwin. And Ole Miss runners on first and second base in the second inning, as Ryan Starr leads off for Ole Miss here in the third inning. Her first at bat today. And while Georgia's had runners everywhere, Missy, Ole Miss has really only had one runner on in both innings. Still no hits for Ole Miss.
Yeah, that's just a tribute to Lily Backus and what she's doing out in the circle for Georgia.
Count is 0-2 to Ryan Starr. And we were told, too, by head coach Tony Baldwin that Lily Backus, she's uber competitive, but it's not outworthy. And you really don't see it from her. It doesn't come out, it doesn't show, but she'll make the big pitch when she needs to. He called her a little baller, and I liked the way he put that.
Yep.
But she doesn't show it, Missy, right? I mean, all that emotion, she contains it, and she's able to show up in these big moments.
No, and I think that's, just so good, her composure out in the circle.
Little dribbler to Mosley, and she throws out Ryan Starr for out number 1.
You want your pitchers to be able to have that composure out in the circle, that they don't get rattled. Because if you're a hitter and you see that you've gotten the pitcher rattled for the opposing team, that just adds fuel to your fire when you get up to the plate.
Lassiter hits this in the air to center field. First pitch swinging, but Goodnight makes the catch. And Lassiter now 0 for 1 today. And 2 down for Ole Miss in the third. Jaden Pone comes up. Sack bunt her first go around. But Lily Backus is really dealing here in game 1 of our doubleheader today. Jamie Traxel told us Jaden Pone came from Longwood And they were going through her box scores from Longwood, and they said what really stuck out to us was she played at a high level against high-level teams. So we knew that she could compete at this level.
Yeah, we've seen her this year, and she's just done such a great job at the plate for Ole Miss. She leads the team in average at 390, and there's a reason for that. She just does such a great job of putting the ball in play and put pressure on opposing defenses.
A loop almost over the head of Armistead. The shortstop.
This was the toughest preseason schedule that Georgia has ever had.
Slow roller to short, and Ryan Starr takes care of Ellie Armistead to begin the 4th inning. Still no score between Ole Miss and number 5, Georgia.
So if you want to be the best, you need to play the best, and that's what Georgia has done this year.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's no shortage of talent on this team. They beat Oklahoma State, who was number 6 at the time, 7-4. Beat your UCLA Bruins, miss you 7-2 earlier this year.
We're not going to talk about
Oh, okay, we won't. So they also took down Florida State 20-10 in 5 innings. And if you're Georgia, that Florida State game was personal. Florida State ended Georgia's season last year. As Digby takes upstairs.
You think that was a little bit of a payback game?
I'd say so, just because, you know, so many of these Georgia Bulldogs were returners from a season ago.
They felt that sting.
Mm-hmm.
Those are things that you don't forget as a player and as a coach. That, you know, and you remind your players that, hey, guess what? Remember last year? Remember who put you out?
2-1 to Digby. Check swing, that's fair down the first base line. Tried to evade Smith, but it was inevitable. Out number 2.
That was a good start to this inning for Brianna Lopez. Again, just really doing a job on these Georgia hitters of working that changeup, keeping them off balance. You see the last 2 batters have a couple of miss hits.
Dallas Goodnight watches it roll across home plate. Coming into today with 4 straight games with a hit. She had a sac bunt in her first time up. Already 2 down for Georgia this inning. They've had bases loaded twice back in the 1st and 3rd innings. Some base running miscues in the 3rd inning. Got Ole Miss out of that jam. But the Dogs shot themselves in the foot a couple of times back in the 3rd.
Just trying to do whatever you can to, if you're head coach Tony Baldwin, to try and put some runs up on the board. Ended last inning with a squeeze bunt attempt.
Cut on and missed. First 1-2. And Paige Smith leads things off for the Rebels in the 4th inning. Backus so far is not a lot of hit. She struck out 2, has walked only 1 batter. And Smith gets a hold of this down the left field line. Coming on is Goodwin. She makes the play.
That was a great play by
The Rebel catcher, number 31.
Jada Goodwin. Catch that ball in foul territory.
Here's Lexi Brady. Popped out her first time up. Just a tad in tight. Coming off last year where she hit a career best 312. She's got that power to her. 9 homers this season. She's already surpassed last year's home run total. including all the RBIs, runs scored, walks, and at-bats that she finished with.
She's really a big RBI producer for Ole Miss. When you talk about the 9 home runs, she's got 28 RBIs and her slugging percentage at .654.
Strike call upstairs. She also competed in powerlifting and back in high school. That's where all that power comes from, Missy.
She's a strong girl.
Offers, and the count's full.
And the other thing that people don't realize about Lexi Brace, she can run too. For a girl her size, well, being as tall as she is, she can move.
Fights that inside pitch off.
She's got 2 stolen bases this year.
She had 3 last year. And that hits her. Oh, they call Lexi Brady out. Did she lead into that, Missy?
I think maybe a little bit. If you watch her elbow, she sticks it out a little bit into the box, and that's what home plate umpire Tatum Stolting.
This will be reviewed.
For her, bat can change a game.
Call is confirmed. So now 2 away for Ole Miss here in the 4th inning. And Lily Backus has retired 6 straight.
Now batting for the Rebels, a designated player, number 18, Hensley Burbush.
Backus has retired 11 of 13 Ole Miss batters. And Furbush takes downstairs.
Well, that just goes to show that we truly have a pitcher's duel today between Lily Backus and Brianna Lopez. Not something that like you said earlier, we were expecting. We were expecting to have a lot of offense and not necessarily a high-scoring game, but I was anticipating seeing a lot of production from the way Ole Miss finished up the weekend against LSU and just what we've seen this season from Georgia.
Furbush came into today hitting a career best .385 offensively. Finished last year at .239 at the plate. Like you said, I mean, Ole Miss beat LSU 9-2 Monday night. It was a short week for the Rebels. Just seemed like offensively they could do no wrong. Today they've been quieted. No hits so far.
It's almost similar to the way they started the LSU matchup with just getting 2 hits in the start of that series on Saturday and then finding the stroke, putting the bat on the ball and barreling up for the next 2 games, and were really successful offensively.
Looked like that hit Furbush, but initially
I think
still 3-2.
I think it might have hit off of the knob of the bat.
Yeah, that's what it looked like too. A rope right to Mosley at third. She makes the catch. Smart, the head football coach at Georgia, actually had a hand in her recruiting process.
Really?
As she takes upstairs. Her grandpa worked at UGA as a high school relations staffer for the football team. And that was when also Kirby Smart was a player at Georgia during that time. They overlapped. So her grandpa was connected very well, and also Kirby Smart connected very well with her family. And of course, you know, when you're head coach Tony Baldwin, you hear about those connections, right? So you you give Kirby Smart a call, because you know they've got each other on speed dial.
Of course.
Say, hey, can you, meet with Lindy Ray Davis? Under this, out to right. McKay watches it sail into the bullpen. But he sat there, Kirby Smart sat Lindy Ray Davis down for an hour and just talked recruiting with her, talked about Georgia, what all the great things Athens has to offer. And when Kirby Smart talks, Missy, you listen.
Oh, of course. Well, I know when Houston Nutt was here, I used him to, well, I don't want to use that term, used him, but I asked him to help me get Brittany Barnhill in here because Houston Nutt and her dad were good friends. So any way and that you can work it, you work it.
And it's not like Kirby Smart just did his duty to recruit somebody for the softball team. He still keeps in touch with Davis, too, and I think that's always big, too. Hey, how are you developing? How are you liking it? You're checking in from time to time. Tugs this again, right side. McKay. She had a play, but just came up short.
Yeah, it gave a good effort after that ball, just not enough to get there in time to make the catch.
Georgia went in order back in the fourth inning for the first time today. They've left a lot of runners stranded this afternoon. Full count.
I am so impressed with Lindy Ray Davis and her patience at the plate and her knowledge of the zone. It is just tremendous to watch her in the batter's box.
Ball four. 3 walks today worked by Lindy Ray Davis.
That is just crazy. She is so good at managing those walks.
And since she became the leadoff hitter for Georgia on March the 8th, she's worked 11 walks, including the 3 today. And we might see a pinch runner for her.
Typically, your leadoff hitter is somebody that's got speed, that can get on base, and Lindy Ray Davis is not your typical leadoff hitter, but she does just a fantastic job for this Georgia offense.
Hannah Davila, freshman number 27, into pinch run for Davis. And Mosley squares to bunt. Foul. Didn't we just say back in the first inning that, the word sacrifice maybe isn't in her dictionary? I guess it is.
Well, I think when you leave 6 runners on base and you're trying to put a run across, I think if you're Tony Baldwin, you're going to pull all the tricks out of your hat.
Didn't offer that time off the plate, 1-1. Tony Baldwin called Mosley a natural-born hitter. She's been hitting since the moment she started playing. And the All-American takes ball 2.
Well, she's first in the SEC and 5th in the nation in RBIs per game. And she's had 19 RBIs in her last 10 games.
Sits on strike 2. And nearly 240 hits for her career. 54 homers. You mentioned her RBIs. She sits 7th all-time in Georgia history with 205, one away from 6th all-time. hard liner to the right. And even Coach Baldwin said sometimes Mosley will doubt herself on whether or not she's even good enough or made for this sport. And I look at those numbers and I think, are you kidding me?
I know, but it's just, that's just that perfection mentality that she wants to be the best and do the best for her team.
Mentally, we all go through those things. Fly ball out to right. And McKay's been busy out there in right field as she makes the catch. One away. Mosley now 1 for 3 today. But now the other All-American in Georgia's lineup, Jada Carney, comes up. She's 0 for 2 today. Missy, you'd think if you're a Dogs fan that you think Carney might be due here.
Yeah, possibly so. She flew out her first at bat to right field. You talk about McKay being busy. And then she struck out looking her second at bat. She's really going to have to be patient on that changeup from Brianna Lopez.
Hits the corner for strike one. Even Tony Baldwin said that Carney's been kind of a hot mess, and he started laughing. And I said, Coach, she's hitting .348 with 12 home runs.
Well, he talked about how she takes things a little bit too seriously. And, just like I'm sure she won't be pleased with that at bat, but guess what? She's on base, and there's runners at first and second for Georgia.
This just a swinging bunt and beats Lopez with her speed down the base paths. Boy, that was still close over at first.
It was.
May have gone 150 feet shorter than she may have wanted it to go, but she's on base for Sydney Kuma. Had that single back up the middle her last time up. She's 1 for 2. By the way, another All-American in Georgia's lineup. They return over half of their offensive production from last year's Super Regional team.
Not where you want to be right here if you're Brianna Lopez, down 2-0 to Kuma, who came into the series batting .405 with a 16 slugging percentage.
And now 3-0.
It makes you wonder if they're trying to stay away from Kuma, but guess what? Jaden Goodwin is coming up, who has been on fire of late. So I guess you pick your poison.
Now a full count. Another jam that Brianna Lopez has had to maneuver around. Runners on first and second base. One away for the Dogs in the fifth. Swing and a miss. Number 5 today for Lopez.
Just a great job to come back on Kuma. Brianna Lopez pulls the string on that last pitch, getting Kuma to swing right through it.
And Jaden Goodwin with 2 outs, runners on first and second base. Fouls off the first pitch. Today, Georgia is 3 for 10 at the plate with runners on base. But the kicker, Missy, they're 0 for 6 with runners in scoring position.
Yeah, and potentially leaving another 2 runners on base here, which would tally 8 runners left on base through 4 innings.
Goodwin has one of Georgia's 4 hits this afternoon. And that one got away from Lopez.
Yeah, that was a great job by Lexi Brady to block that up. That actually looked like a backdoor curve that maybe Brianna Lopez had took a little something off. You saw Jaden Goodwin kind of flinch on that pitch.
I've seen Lopez deal some pitches way off the mark a couple of times this afternoon. This is a big one coming, 2-2. With 2 on, no score in the 5th in Oxford. Game 1 of our doubleheader today. Georgia has stranded 6. They've had bases loaded twice. Trying to muster up something here in the 5th. Ball 4 and bases are loaded for Jaden Fields. Davila at 3rd, Kearney at 2nd. Good time this afternoon. Georgia's had bases loaded. And the 3rd time, like Missy said, Fields comes up with runners and an opportunity to score. Strikeout, fielder's choice. This part of the lineup for Georgia is hitless today. Why do some of those pitches from Lopez kind of roll across home plate? What do you think she's trying to do there that she can't execute?
It's just, I think it's just release point, and she's not getting a good feel on the ball, and so.
Lined out to left, down for a base hit. Davila comes in. The throw home's cut off. Davila and Kearney score for the Dogs in Georgia. Game 1 of our doubleheader, and all those fans in attendance today. It's been a gorgeous day for softball in Oxford. See if Ole Miss can get something going offensively. This is hit hard by McKay down the line, and it's foul.
Well, if you're Georgia, you're holding your breath on that ball because it sure looked good, but as you can see, if you can see the flag out in left center field, it's not really blowing much. I don't know if that helped it or hurt it, but that was a stroke by McKay.
Hardest hit ball, too, by Ole Miss today.
Well, not necessarily, Jake,
yeah, good
because
point.
Ansley Furbush hit that rocket that lined out in the 4th inning.
McKay went for it down low, 1-2. McKay gets a piece of it. McKay was tearing it up in February. By the end of the month, she was 12 for 29 at the plate, hitting .414. However, since March hit, she's 9 for 34 at the plate, swinging .264. Up and in. Counts even.
Come on, Jam. Come on, Jam.
Even though she's had her struggles, she's still one of the top hitters on the team, hitting .333 overall.
An entertaining game last night. Liner to right center, and it's caught by Goodnight.
Good strike, really good strike.
And Delaney Rummel now 0 for 1 today. Another ball that off the bat of Ole Miss, Missy hit hard, but the defensive play was made.
Yeah, absolutely. It was a nice piece by Delaney Rummel. It looked kind of like it was going to die out, but Dallas Goodnight made a nice play on it.
Angelina De Leon struck out back in the 2nd inning. I like her song, her dugout song that they're chanting for her.
Yep. Angelina De Leon earning her way back into the defensive lineup out at second base. She had started out there 2 years ago and kind of lost it, but now she's back and doing a great job.
One hopper to Armistead, 2 today against Lopez. Missy, what are your thoughts on Brianna Lopez's start today? I know she allowed the 2 runs in the 5th inning, but her offense so far has been in a tough battle with Lily Backus, but she's held her own today against the 5th-ranked team in the country.
Well, she's given Ole Miss an opportunity to be in this ball game and have a chance to win. You know, she's had a few more walks than I think anybody wanted as far as the coaching staff for Ole Miss, but she's given her team a chance, and Ole Miss needs to find a way offensively to try and solve the dilemma that Lily Backus is throwing at them right now.
Attack and miss for Armistead. Yeah, you mentioned those walks. Oh, Sydney Chambly at the plate. I beg your pardon there. Did not catch that pinch hitter. And she swings through and misses. And Chambly down on strikes. Armistead, she was 0 for 2 at the plate.
Now batting the first baseman, number 22, Emily Digby.
Emily Digby, number 22. Is 0 for 1 today with the walk. That was Lopez's 6th strikeout today, too.
Is that season high for her in a game, I believe?
Digby takes high, 1-1. It is. To answer your question, hard hit ball, right past Rummel, the third baseman, and rolls into left field. This is normally a play that Rummel makes. Missy, look at this again.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Oh, it
Look
took a
at
bad
that.
hop. Boy, if you're Delaney Rummel, you're not very happy about that.
What kind of
But
wicked spin was that off the bat?
that it was crazy, and you know, Delaney Rummel did a good job of reacting to it if it would have stayed on that path, but it took a serious hop to Rummel's left and just trickles out to the outfield for a base hit.
And Goodnight ropes this into right field. Digby on her way to third. The throw's late. Snap throw to second. Not in time. Digby all the way to third. Goodnight up to second. And now Georgia with 1 down in the 6th. They have runners in second and third.
Very aggressive at the plate for Goodnight. She comes up swinging at the first pitch and drives it out to right field.
Now batting the catcher,
The
number
speed of
11,
Emily Digby able to get to third base, and then on the throw, Goodnight takes second. It's aggressive heads-up base running by Georgia, and I think we're going to see a pitching change here for Ole Miss.
We are.
Miles an hour.
Lindy Ray Davis at the plate, the first to see Kaylin Riley. She's been on base all 3 times via a walk, and now she faces Kaylin Riley. A tick up in speed, as Missy was saying. Runners on second and third. Georgia on top of Ole Miss, 2-0. Game 1 of our doubleheader today. Loops this into left. That's down for a base hit. Digby comes home. Goodnight races to the plate. Georgia on top, 4-0.
I'm so impressed with Lindy Ray Davis. She walks her previous 3 at bats, and here she takes this inside pitch and inside outs the swing to be able to put a shallow ball out to left field to score 2 runs for Georgia.
Sarah Mosley takes downstairs. 1 hit back in the first inning today, but back-to-back flyouts to center and to right. And gets a piece of that 1-1. Georgia had left 6 runners on base until the 5th inning, and finally with bases loaded, they were able to scratch across 2 runs. And here in the 6th, doing what this offense does best. High chopper, little dribbler to third. Rummel, not in time. Mosley beats out the throw.
Just a miss-hit ball by Sarah Mosley, and she just boogies it down to first base to be able to beat out the throw from Delaney Rummel.
Now batting in the right fielder, number 8, Jada Kearney.
They give her the hit. Davis moves up to second base. Jada Kearney comes up. Singleton scored back in the 5th inning. Preseason All-America by D1 Softball and Softball America coming into the year. And yanks this foul. Hard hit ball by Kearney. Leads the SEC in home runs with 12. That's 5th in the country too. Foul tip. She's 2nd in the SEC in total bases, 73 coming into today. One of the best to ever swing it wearing that Georgia uniform, and also, I'd argue, even in the SEC.
Yeah, no question. She's just been a tremendous player for Georgia. She's also on the top 50 watch list for USA Player of the Year. So just impressive stats and impressive career.
Couple of pitches inside. 3-2.
Yeah, Caitlin Riley trying to work the inside part of the plate. Just a little bit too low in the zone.
And that Georgia dugout is electric. Hack and miss. Strike 3.
It goes back to that same pitch, just elevates it a little bit to be able to get Kearney to swing over the top of it. It's a big out for Caitlin Riley and the Ole Miss Rebels.
Can Sydney Kuma add to the damage that's already been done by Georgia in the 6th? Single today, that was back in the 3rd inning. And on a fielder's choice, she was thrown out between 3rd and home. She was caught in a pickle.
And she was a strikeout victim, one of Brianna Lopez's strikeout victims on that wicked changeup, her last at bat in the 4th inning.
One, two misses.
That looked like a nice pitch from Caitlin Riley.
And a payoff coming from Riley.
A great job by Kuma to work her way back in the count. Now you got a full count, the runners will be going for Georgia.
There they go. And a ground ball to short. Oh, mishandled by Starr, the shortstop. Another run in for the Dogs.
A fortunate situation for Ole Miss, a routine play, easy grounder, and as you can see, Ryan Starr lets that ball come to her instead of charging it and getting the out at first base. Goes through the wickets out to left field for a run for Georgia.
And Jamie Traxel just raved about all the new faces on the left side of the infield for Ole Miss. You don't see that a lot from Starr.
Not at all, and one of Jamie Traxel's things is defense, and that's what she prides her team in, is defense. So that play not going to sit well with her.
On the ground to second base off the bat of Goodwin, and De Leon makes the. And Ryan Starr, after that error in the 6th inning that brought home a run for Georgia, has the opportunity to make up for that here, but she skies it to center, left center, and it's the shortstop Armistead who makes the catch. And one down for Ole Miss.
That's a great play by Armistead. That could have been a nasty collision, but just does a good job of communicating with center fielder Goodnight to make the play.
Jayla Lassiter walked back in the 1st and flew out to center field in her last at-bat. That was way back in the 3rd inning. Which feels like forever ago at this point, Missy, right?
It sure does. Ole Miss just doesn't have the answer so far today against Lily Backus, and they are running out of time.
It is the 6th inning. Played a 7.
Ole Miss is down to their last 5 outs.
They could really use something from Jayla Lassiter. Hitting .385 coming into today.
Well, her and Jaden Pone have definitely been the leaders of this offense and getting the offense going for Ole Miss. But again, the outing by Lily Backus so far today has just shut everybody down.
Up the middle and right to Backus. Out number 2 in the 6th. Great play by the pitcher.
Not only is she doing a great job pitching, but she's also helping herself fielding. This ball is hit back well to the pitcher's circle. Lily Backus handles it, no problem.
Jaden Pone, sack bunt, and a pop out. And fouls off the first pitch. Like you said, I mean, Ole Miss has put the bat on the ball. Just right at the Bulldogs today.
You know, and sometimes that's the way it works, and you just need one to fall, and then things just open up.
Everyone talks about how contagious hitting is.
It really is. You can see that just by what's happened on the other side of the field with Georgia. They've stringed hits together and scored runs, and that's what it takes.
Fouls it off, 2-2. Swings and misses. Strike 3.
It's on the board.
Jaden Fields leads off for the Dogs, who've really offensively come around in these last 2 innings. Scored 2 runs in the 5th and then added 3 more in the 6th. And the way Lily Backus has been pitching, knock on wood, you'd think this would be enough, but you never know with Ole Miss.
They can get those bats hot in a hurry. Jaden Fields actually got the scoring started in the 4th inning with her single to left field.
Slips past Riley, but this is a foul ball. And if you're Jaden Fields, you'll say, you know what, I'll take it.
Right.
And Jamie Traxel out of Ole Miss's dugout to have a chat with Tatum Stolting, behind home plate. I'm sure that was just to confirm whether or not the umpire saw what she saw. Just Traxel wanted to question her a little bit about whether or not it was, I don't want to say reviewable, but sits her down for strike 3.
And that's a big out for Caitlin Riley.
Second strikeout this afternoon for Riley, who came in last inning to relieve Brianna Lopez. And Ellie Armistead comes up. Re-entered after she was pinch hit for by Sydney Chambly back in the 6th inning. Armistead 0 for 2, struck out, grounded out. And Chambly, when she pinched hit for Armistead in the 6th, she struck out swinging. Back up the middle and off the mid of Riley. Starr doesn't have a play. It was a good attempt by Riley, but she just misses on this line drive right back to her.
Just a great job of Riley getting the glove on it, but just not enough time for Ryan Starr to be able to get Armistead out at first base.
A weak dribbler back to short. Starr no play at second base, and because of the hesitation, Emily Digby safe at first.
I think Starr thought she was going to have a play. It was a slow roller to her right, and by that time, after she made the decision to go to first base, too late to make the throw over to first.
Georgia with 1 down. They have runners on first and second base. And Dallas Goodnight, who singled and scored back in the 6th inning. She's 1 for 2 in game 1 of our doubleheader today. Takes a strike, it's 1-1.
Let's go,
And Goodnight with her single back in the 6th extends her hitting streak to 5 games. Looks at strike 2. Number 5, Georgia looking to continue their momentum in SEC play. Taking the series last weekend against number 15, Alabama. And if you're Ole Miss, you're coming off your highest ranked series win from last weekend. Took down number 2 LSU. You wondered what they would do with momentum like that coming into this weekend.
Well, it's a lot of momentum after last weekend and the big series win. This weekend, you're facing some tough pitching, and you want that to carry over. But Lily Backus has just shut them down, and Ole Miss, up to this point, just doesn't have the answer.
Go. Goodnight had a twist out of the way of that pitch, 3-2. Bases are loaded. And if you're trying to mount a comeback with your final 3 outs next inning, Missy, this is not what you want. Bases loaded for the Dogs, already up 5-0.
Yeah, absolutely. And just the fielding mistake has played a huge role in this so far by Ryan Starr not being able to get the lead out. And unfortunately, it was a tough play, but you got to find a way to get outs, especially when you're down by 5 runs.
Lindy Ray Davis walked and scored in the 5th. That 2 RBI single back in the 6th to really break this one open for the Dogs. And an opportunity to put this out of reach. Yanks it foul.
She just has such quality at bats, and again, in that leadoff role, that's what you want to see from your leadoff hitter.
See those 24 RBIs, already surpassing last year's total of 23. Her career high is 27. She could, she could pass that with one swing of the bat here. Just misses.
That's a great eye by Lindy Ray Davis. And you see defensively for Ole Miss, the middle infielders are playing in, hoping to try and get the out at home.
Down the left field line. Pone makes the catch. Tagging from third is Armistead, and she scores. Georgia adds on another here in the 7th inning.
That play can be a double-edged sword. So let's talk about it for a minute. You have Lindy Ray Davis, who is one of the hottest hitters for Georgia. Do you let that ball drop, or do you make that play and let the run score, which is essentially what Pone did? But if you let that ball drop in foul territory and let Lindy Ray Davis have another opportunity, that's a tough decision. So I think being able to make that play was probably good.
Mosley scorches this into right center. This will do more damage for Georgia as Digby comes home. In these last 3 innings, the Bulldogs have been swinging it red hot.
Absolutely. And Sarah Mosley, she's already had 2 singles today. This is her 3rd. And she just takes this offering from Caitlin Riley on the outside part of the plate and smokes it past De Leon at second.
Taylor Ellison now pinch hitting for Georgia for Jada Carney. And now in a 7-0 Dogs lead. Coach Tony Baldwin wants to give some at-bats to some who don't really get the opportunity much, as Emma up 7-0 on Ole Miss. Georgia had 3 hits until the 5th inning They had stranded 6 on base, and now they're taking out all that early game frustration out on Ole Miss in these final 3 innings. Strike.
Well, when they let it, I'm sorry,
No, go
when
ahead.
they let it go, they really let it go and put pressure on the defense, and they've strung a lot of hits together and have really taken charge of this game.
Two and 2 to Ellison with 2 outs. Check swing. Did she go? She did. Strike 3. 6 left on base through the first 4 innings. Their offense came around to scratch 6 across so far through 7. Backus faces Paige Smith. And the first pitch in there for strike 1.
I think if you're Lily Backus, you have to keep challenging these Ole Miss hitters. You've done a great job through 6. It's time to shut it down and go right at them. Keep going right at them.
Smith has flown out twice to the outfield, once to right, once to left. A hard shot right to Mosley at third for out number 1.
And that's just been the story of the day for Ole Miss. Some hard balls that they've barreled up, but it's just been right at this Georgia defense.
Lexi Brady comes up, hit by a pitch, but they said she leaned into it in her last at bat. She was thrown out, and she takes strike 1.
There you go, good job. Come on, 3-1. Hey, Lexi, come on, Lexi.
Brady fouls it off to the right. Ole Miss, no runs, no hits, 2 errors as a team this afternoon. And Lily Backus has been in the circle for it all. Called strike 3. Got her through the back door. And Lily Backus 1 out away
Hey, why not, eh? Why not?
from pitching a hitless day in Oxford.
Now batting the designated player, number 18, Hensley Burba.
Why not, Ains? Come on, you get into one here. Come on.
Ansley Furbush
Get in there.
flies this to left, and it drops for a base hit. Ole Miss with some life in the 7th, down to their last out.
Well, Ansley Furbush hit the ball really hard her last time at bat, right to Sarah Mosley at third base. This time she muscles the ball out to left center field, ending Lily Backus's no-hit bid.
Please, running at first base, number 22, Taylor Malvin. Now
Taylor Malvin pinch running for Ole Miss at first. And Jamie McKay comes up with 2 down, runner on first base. Ole Miss down 7-0. She lifts this to left, but it's right at Goodwin, who makes the catch. Ball game. Lily Backus, one hits, no miss. Ole Miss.